Hello students, today we shall have the lesson 5 in history, that is the Sangam is. Before learning the Sangam is, I will clarify you about a doubt that you had asked through the comments, that what about the 3 parts that I mentioned in the Angas as the Dwadasangi. The parts are divided into 12. The first one I had said about is that Acharanga Sutra, then Vyakhya Prajapati and Bhagavati Sutra. The Vyakhya Prajapati is popularly known as Bhagavati Sutra, that's right. But for the code of conduct and the doctrines mentioned, it was said so. We will follow the prescribed textbook that says Vyakhya Prajapati is also known as Bhagavati Sutra. To learn about the Sangam is deals with the kind of confluence or association of the literary persons meeting in the past in the southern part of our country. The kingdoms of the Cheras, Pandyas and Cholas were possibly found in the history of the South India. The Sangam is considered as a landmark in the history of South India. And this word Sangam is derived from the Tamil word from the form of the Sanskrit, that is Sangam or Sangha or association. In the part of syllabus, we'll learn about the sources, that is the Tirukural and megaliths, and the brief study of society and economy of the people of the period. Sources 1. Tirukural. Tirukural was the most celebrated work of the Sangam literature, and it was written by Sant Tiruvalluvar. This book, Tirukural, is considered as a compound of teachings as Dharmasastra, Arthasastra and Kama Sutra. 3 parts that it comprises. It also comprises a series of brief metrical proverbs on aspects of life and religion of the people in the southern part of our country. First, it is composition of the teachings of Dharmasastra, Arthasastra and Kama Sutra. It also comprises the proverbial form of the metrical proverbs on aspects of life and religion. This word metrical is in the poetic form. It is a collection of Tamil couplets organized into 133 chapters. Each chapter is dealing with the farmers and the agriculture or the life of the people, the division of society and so on. The 133 chapters are grouped into 3 sections. Section 1 is Aram, 2 is Poral and 3 is Inbam. This word Aram means righteousness, Poral is wealth, Inbam was also known as Kaman, that is pleasure. Okay, the term Aram means righteousness, Poral is wealth, and Inbam, that is also known as Kaman, means pleasure. This is in brief about the Tirukural written by Sant Tiruvalluvar. The next of the sources is the megaliths. They are large stones found at the burial sites of the southern part. What are they? They are box-like rock structure erected with stone slabs resting on each other without using any mortar. Sometimes there was an opening cut to the rocks, and they were also considered to be the memorial stones of the great heroes of the time. One of the historians in India, historian Champaka Lakshmi, has identified the Sangam as the last phase of the megalithic culture. She has also further identified the communities of the time and their agricultural settlement, with Vellar as the chieftains and the Vellala as the worksmen or the peasants of the period. See, as a historian also has given various arguments. Her argument about megalithic culture says that agriculture, cattle rearing, fishing, use of iron and a number of weapons was found during the period. Comes next is the Sangam society. The society had divisions of high born and low born, the high class people and the low caste. There were tribes and castes both existed side by side. Tolkappiyam, by Tolkappiyar, a poet, mentioned that 4 castes were existing during the period. The Brahmana, the Kshatriya was the king, there were traders and the farmers. The Brahmanas were learned and respectable people in the society. They served the kings in the judicial part of the king while dispensing justice. And they also were the astrologers. They foretold the situation of the country and the kingdom's welfare or any calamity or problem that would happen in the future were told by the Brahmins who worked as astrologers. In the society, there were Vaishyas and Vellalas, both were traders. Vellalas were the peasants were also traders. The functions of the Vellalas were learning other than the Vedas. They did the agricultural work, they were traders and they were also gift makers. They made gift, maybe made of gold or any other metal. There was a concept practice called Tinai, that means divisions. There were 5 Tinais or divisions according to the quality of land that was found during the period. The land was divided into the hilly backwoods, the parched zones, the pastoral tract, wetland and the littoral land. The Tanais were also divided into the social groups. According to the land, the social groups were also mentioned. The hilly areas, hunters were the people who lived. In the parched zone, the cattle rearers lived. In the pastoral zone too, the animal husbandry or cattle rearers lived, and there was practice of shifting agriculture. There was wet land where plowshare was used for agriculture, and the littoral land had the occupation of fishermen. There were a few kind of occupations found during the period. Besides, there was also practice of occupations like goldsmithy, blacksmithy and pottery. This is what we will learn now. You learn them and then make the notes of all these things. Every paragraph that you are coming across, make your own questions and their answers. Keep learning, stay safe. The rest of the part in the next class I'll tell.